so much. I love you so much. I love you so much. I love you so much.
Hello, all you positive heads. Welcome to a very special episode dedicated to none other than you, the P-heads themselves. I am your P-head enthusiast and hostess for the day, Alexa Hauser. I have been blessed to have the experience of helping out with Positive Head social media for the better part of a year. And through my digital interactions, I began to realize, as did Brandon, that we have some incredible beings listening to this show who are taking the information that Brandon puts out through the podcast and using it to transform their lives and create wonderful things. You listeners are all a huge, huge part of the life force that propels this show forward through time and space, and we think it's time to bring forth some of you beautiful reflections and delve a little deeper into this collection of energy that is the Positive Head community. So as we shine the spotlight on our listeners, what we'll have them do is share their stories of how they attracted Positive Head into their life, the transformation it's facilitated for them, and what they're focused on creating now that they're in a more positive headspace. Also, this episode of the Positive Head podcast is being brought to you thanks to the support of Gaia. If you're not familiar, Gaia is the go-to source for streaming consciousness content online. And you can sign up for your first month for only 99 cents at gaia.com/positivehead. That's spelled GAIA.com/positivehead. Check it out. Hello, all you positive heads. On this week's P-Head Posse episode, our guests are Sarah Nehamen and Melissa Eliyahoo. Melissa and Sarah like to call themselves passionpreneurs. Their love for mindfulness, spirituality, healing, design, and water led them to develop a product that is raising the vibration of the planet in a fun, lighthearted manner. H2 Life High Vibe water bottle stickers are the first water bottle accessory that allow you to bring positivity everywhere you go. With the current trend in reusable water bottles, less plastic, thank goodness, water bottles provided the perfect blank canvas for good vibes on the go. The stickers work in two ways. For one, they infuse positive vibrations into your water via affirmations and sacred geometry. These vibrations penetrate the water in your bottle and your body on a subtle energetic level due to a phenomenon known as water memory. Secondly, they stand as a mindfulness tool, aligning our thoughts with the energies we want to embody via uplifting subliminal messages. While taking a break from showering the world with stickers, Melissa is also a pregnancy coach and conscious mom. Sarah is a designer and Akashic Records reader. Hi, ladies. Welcome to the show.
Hi, thanks for having us.
Oh, so excited to have you. This is really cool. Like, this is really an interesting idea and product, and I'm so excited to hear more about it.
Well, we're excited to share. Yeah, very excited.
Well, why don't we start from the beginning? Do you want to kind of give us a background on how you came to this product, and maybe also give a background on just like each of your journeys of how you kind of came to like the spiritual lifestyle?
Sure. Yeah. So I'll just start with the spiritual lifestyle because that seems to be the beginning of the beginning. The spiritual lifestyle for me informally started around high school because I was having these crazy dreams and kind of seeing things. And then all of a sudden, something I dreamt about a few months earlier or the night before, all of a sudden I started to see that happen like in reality. And I was in school or just in camp. I don't even remember half the stuff, but I was just kind of tripped out. I would just dream, oh, this person's going to be wearing this outfit tomorrow. And I've never seen that dress before. And all of a sudden they're showing up wearing that. So I was kind of getting into those things when I was younger and learning about them. And I would go to the little psychic eye shop and down the street from my parents' house and just check things out. So I always had a curiosity for it and was interested in yoga and all those types of things. But I wasn't really in an environment that fostered believing any of it was like a valid thing to get too far into. It was just kind of, whoa. So that was earlier. And then what really got me on the train of getting deeper into my spiritual practice was simply having an insanely stressful job in New York City when I just came out of portfolio school. And it was just, I'm a California girl. I was commuting in and out of Manhattan to Brooklyn. And I was just kind of like working crazy hours and having those kind of damsel in distress moments at 2 a.m., like not getting a cab back to Brooklyn in the freezing cold, wanting to cry. And I was just having those random moments. I was like, what am I doing with life? I don't get this whole thing. So anyway, I found this refuge in my little yoga studio, basically across from where I lived. And there was only maybe 10 people in each class, if that. So I learned about Buddhism and yoga. And even though I had already taken yoga before and was interested, it was just, that was the time to really dive into the world beyond what we could see. And then it just kind of evolved from there, later becoming a yoga teacher and then meditation and then actually doing healing work and then reading the records and lots of other things. And then eventually, I'm just kind of skipping a lot, so it doesn't take too much time, going to Bali last year and having kind of a very mystical journey and learning about water. And that was something that I knew was special, but I really got to understand in a full body way how healing and potent water is, because a lot of the world relies on water for healing and for transformation in a way that we don't. So they have in Bali, I'm not sure if you've been there, they have water temples where people go religiously, daily or weekly, to meditate, to pray, to ask for things, to cleanse things out of their body. And it's probably an hour process, and people are constantly, pretty much this water is getting loved 24 million times a day. And they have said that these sacred waters are known to bring real healing. And so it was really interesting coming back and then connecting with Melissa. We went to this moon ceremony and we were talking about water, and she had this idea of creating a sticker, and we were talking about it. And I was like, oh my gosh, I was just learning all about water and the potency and everything. So it just kind of synchronistically came together how we just decided to create this business literally at the drop of a hat. I mean, it was one conversation and both of us were so in, and we started 2 days later. She came over and we were like in. So that was kind of a very brief overview of how things got started.
Yeah. No, that was like a very, that I saw like the movie happening almost. Like it reminded me of like Eat, Pray, Love a little bit, just like minus the stickers. But, oh, and I just looked and it's 444. But
yes, it's so funny.
But it's crazy because, well, actually, before we get into that, so yeah, and Melissa, wait, was that just Sarah talking?
That was just me, yeah.
Okay.
It was Sarah.
Yeah, okay, got it. And so Melissa, what about you? What's like your path been like up until now?
Yeah, it's so fun to hear people's evolutionary stories and how they got onto their path. And I've never really kind of backtracked and really put it together and thought that much about it. But as Sarah was telling her story, it hit me, for me, when I was in college, my brother went off to India and he was traveling for a year around Southeast Asia. And he kept telling me, you've got to quit your job. You've got to break up with your boyfriend. You've got to just come. I'm telling you, you got to come. You're going to come. You're going to love it. You've got to be here. So eventually I'm like, what, fine. I'm not going to quit my job. I'm not going to leave my boyfriend. I'll come for a 2-week trip. So I booked a trip. I went out there. And after 2 weeks, everyone I met was on a 1 year to 2 year trip. Everyone was traveling nobody was there for 2 weeks. So I'm like, you know what? Forget it. I'm quitting my job. I'm leaving my boyfriend and I'm staying. And I extended it for 6 months. And I called my boss and said I quit. Yeah, it was a little crazy. So anyway, so I ended up staying and traveling all around Thailand. And then we went off to India. And, I wasn't spiritual at that point. I wasn't connected in that way. I wasn't into meditation or any of this kind of stuff. And I found this silent meditation retreat called Vipassana, which is 10 days of silence. And maybe you've heard of it. Yeah. And I just said, you know what? My brother had done it when he was traveling. And so he told me how awesome it was. I'm like, and it was in the north of India, Dharamsala, where the Dalai Lama lived. And I was like, I'm going to go for it. I'm just going to do it. I've never really meditated before, but why not go for it all the way? So I did it. And that was kind of the start of it. I came out and I was like, wow, I feel like more amazing than I've ever felt in my entire life. And that was the beginning of my evolution process. And then fast forward, I came back home and I, went into life and got more into this into meditation and whatnot. And then a few years down the road, my grandmother got sick with cancer and she passed away. And then a very close friend got sick with cancer. And then my dad got sick with cancer and he passed. And it was like all this was happening. And I just started questioning, there's got to be more than just drugs and radiation. And, that was all that I was seeing around me and everybody was dying. And it was really sad. And it was a really difficult time. And so I just remember one night a light went on in my mind. I started researching online other alternative treatments for cancer. And boom, I see the Gerson Institute. I see all these places where people are healing their bodies naturally. So that kind of opened me up to a whole nother realm of thinking about the way we feed our bodies, which then opened up more of the whole idea of the thoughts that we're putting in our bodies. So, naturally from once you start learning about food and like how we're feeding our bodies, it kind of naturally evolves into the thoughts that we're thinking and how that affects our body. So, that kind of took me into going to school and learning about it and doing health coaching. Then I got pregnant. I mean, the story could go on and on, but I'm trying to make it, not too long. So anyway, I got pregnant. I had my natural pain-free home birth and I got really into the power of the mind with pregnancy and birth. And I was like, oh, I'm going to have a natural pain-free birth. I'm going to do it. And I set my mind to it and I did it. So then that made me realize, oh my God, my mind is super powerful. No one believed it was possible, but it is possible. Anything's possible. Mm-hmm. So that kind of led me more onto this journey. And then I got really good at manifesting and started learning about Bob Proctor and the power of the mind. And then, like Sarah said, to meet up with her story, we were at this celebration or ceremony for the new moon, I think it was. And, I had this idea a while ago because I got into everything high vibe. I want everything in my life high vibe. And so I went online and I was like, high vibrational water bottle stickers. Nothing existed. So that's when I was with Sarah, who's this amazing designer. And I told her the idea and she's like, I love it. Let's do it. And boom, within a month, we had a business up and running. In a nutshell.
I love it. You can feel the momentum of both of your stories. It's so awesome. It's so, I loved hearing each side of it and how, you came together to make this awesome product, which is so like genius and so innovative, but so simple. That's like the first thing that stuck out to me about it. I was like, wow, that's a really good idea. And it's so simple, but it's so, it's so, what is the word I'm looking for? It's so intentional and it's so, it's like, oh yeah, we should be doing this.
Totally.
So that's awesome. And so, can you like talk a little bit more? I mean, I just read in the intro a lot about the stickers, but do you guys want to talk about that? Like about, the idea behind it some more? Because so something that as I was reading, I was like, of course I'm interviewing them today because literally yesterday I'm working on a retreat right now and something that was coming up very strongly. I was like, oh, we need to do like a section on water blessing. And I was talking to my co-creators in the experience. And I was like, and they were like, I've never done that before. I was like, well, I've done it with my EFT teacher, Sonia Sophia. She did that when I was at my EFT training. And it was really, really, really powerful to realize, how much power we have just from our thoughts, just from our intentions, especially with water. Because for me, water has been especially as I've woken up and I've become very health conscious, water was like the number one thing that I just could not, it would make me so angry all the time. I'd be like, there's fluoride in the water. There's like all this stuff in the water and there's nothing I can do about it because all of these filters like that are affordable, like they don't even filter that stuff out. And then like everything that supposedly does is like or at the time is like so expensive and so elaborate. And like, it just made me so angry. Like I felt like it was something that I couldn't really fix. And then when I went to this retreat and Sophia was doing this water blessing with us, it really helped me understand like, wow, because something that we were doing where we were like blessing the water and putting our intention into it. And I would love for you guys to talk about like Dr. Emoto's studies and all that, because I know that's what this has to do with. But just to taste the difference in a glass of water before you bless it and after you bless it, just before it's infused with intention and after, you really realize like, whoa, I just actually changed the structure of this. Like this is a different thing now. So I would love for you guys to talk about, the philosophy behind it, like everything like that. And definitely like if you want to talk about the water studies, because I don't know if everyone here, a lot of people know, but I don't know if everyone who's listening knows about all of that.
Yeah. Perfect. Sarah, go for it.
Sure. Okay. So, all right, I'll get started and I'll hand it over to you at some point.
Yeah, exactly. Hand it over to me. You know what?
I loved hearing this because it was like, oh, okay, we're getting into it. Go ahead.
Totally.
Hands rubbing together.
It's so funny. And what we're really excited about this particular podcast is because it kind of blends our giant mission with our subtle, mission for all the people that we know get it, but not the rest of the world might not be ready for. So that's why we're super excited. We're like, oh, it's Positive Head. And our mission is bring positivity everywhere you go. But underneath, they're really interested in science and spiritual science and all those things. And they can hang there. So we love it.
Yes.
I'm extra excited about this because we can talk about the big picture and basically where we kind of started was with the Dr. Emoto science experiments and with the idea that anything positive, anything blessing, anything intentional on water actually can change the molecular structure of the water. And a lot of his studies in the movie, What the Bleep Do You Know? And further studies, not just him, even there were actually scientists before him that there was a Nobel Prize winner and a couple other people that were studying water memory and actually getting incredible results. But as you would imagine, the regular kind of mainstream scientific world wasn't really all buying into it. So that's part of the reason why it didn't become this big, it didn't show up in medical school textbooks. Probably not. I didn't go to med school, but I imagine it's not there.
Yeah.
So, but the idea is that the water molecules under the influence of love, peace, wisdom, etc., actually turn into these beautiful hexagonal crystals that look like snowflakes. And when they had the influence of negativity or in any form, such as thoughts or words, like some of the experiments Dr. Emoto did, some of them were meditating, some of them were yelling, some of them were actually writing the words on a water container, which is what our stickers were inspired by. And those molecules actually form these kind of they're kind of deformed shapes. And so if you watch his movies or the documentaries in particular on Dr. Emoto, which is fascinating, they actually studied water as it appears in nature in really beautiful environments, like the most pristine, beautiful environments. Those water molecules actually reflect the same love and beauty. And because they're in their natural environment, water is able to flow how it naturally flows, and a waterfall, a river, a stream, all those gorgeous ways that water likes to be. It's like an animal in a happy environment. And when it's going through pipes, like you were saying, in the city and picking up on all this other energy, it shows up as kind of deformed because water is one of the most miraculous, if not the most miraculous substances on earth because it is life. Our bodies are made of water, and Melissa will get into that a little bit more, but our body, everything exists because of water. Everything we're eating, who we are, it's all because of water. And the water actually responds to the most subtle of energies, which is why something as simple as blessing water, it actually, or putting sounds into water, that those molecules respond because it is so sensitive. And it's hard for our human brain to really kind of understand that, because the way the science works, it kind of is broken down to almost like the tiniest measurements. They call some of the measurements like nanometers. Like that's how small these vibrations are penetrating the bonds of the water molecules. So it's hard to really, really understand, but the science has shown that it happens. And that's what's so beautiful and intriguing about it, is because it's not just the water we drink, it's the water everywhere. Everything's constantly in this water conversation. So that's kind of the broad ish gist of the Dr. Emoto, and the notion of the subliminal messages, which is kind of our bigger mission to bring positivity everywhere you go. It directly relates to water, but you don't even have to understand the science, because, for example, right now I'm staring at my trust sticker. It is on the window. It just stares at me in the face, and that energy of trust is getting into my brain. So if my thoughts kind of get into doubt or fear or whatever, and then I see the word trust, or I'm carrying my water bottle 24/7 and trust is getting into my brain, the brain actually picks up subliminal messages in about 1/300th of a second. And the brain is made of water, and our thoughts affect the water, which Melissa will get into a little bit more, but that's just basically how this whole thing works without you even having to know about all the, nanometers. Okay, Melissa.
Moving on. That was beautiful.
I feel like I'm getting it really was. I feel like I'm getting like a crash course in this. I love it. Continue.
Yay. Awesome. Okay. So like going into the water memory thing, when I kind of, when we started this company, and we had a lot of realizations along the way, and it kind of hit me like, okay, so we're made up of about 70% water, and our thoughts affect water, words affect water, which is what Dr. Emoto's scientific studies were. And I'll break those down. He basically, for those of you listening that haven't heard about water memory, or don't know that water has memory and that water is alive, it is fully alive and has memory. And so what Dr. Emoto actually did with his scientific experiments is he took two separate containers of water. He took a few different separate containers of water, and he wrote words on them. So he'd write love, he'd write hate, and he would freeze the water, and he would look at it under a microscope. And the love one would form these beautiful crystal formations, and then the hate one would form these like ugly formations. And so from that study is part of what led him to learn that water has memory, and water is alive, and it reacts not only to a spoken word, but to a thought. So when we put that together with, we hear a lot about the law of attraction and the power of the mind, which is part of what this podcast is all about, positive head and getting your head into that right space. The law of attraction happens is the reason the law of attraction happens is because of our thoughts, and our thoughts affect the water memory in our body. So when we're thinking a certain thought, like, whatever it is that we want to have happen in our lives, and we're continuing to repeat those thoughts without any other like resisting thoughts, and we repeat those thoughts, we're sending signals to the water in our body, and then it raises our vibrational frequency to attract that of what we're thinking into our lives, hence the law of attraction. So it's like, that's the whole idea behind our stickers. And when you put, the love sticker on your bottle, it's infusing, and some people would think that's crazy, like a sticker is going to affect my water. But like we were saying, it's not about the sticker, it's the word, it's the energy of the word and the intention, love, which right now I'm looking at my love sticker. So it's like Sarah said, it's sending that signal to my body, and subliminally, without me even having to think about it, it automatically does, which is so amazing and powerful. So so you put a love sticker on your bottle, you're infusing that love into your water. And if you're drinking from that water bottle all day long, which most people nowadays have their water bottles that they're bringing around with them. So when you have this positive intention on your water, and you're drinking from that water all day long and it's love infused water, then you're putting that into your body and you're able to attract more of that into your life. So that's kind of like the breakdown of the scientific side of it. And, the whole idea behind drinking love water, trust water, peace water, all that kind of stuff.
Yes. Love water, trust water, peace water. I love that. And what's coming up for me. So it's funny because first of all, thank you both for that very eloquent explanation. I think I was just sitting here going like, wow, this is so interesting to me. And I just love how knowledgeable you both are about it and obviously passionate about it.
Yes.
But so a couple of weeks ago, I was interviewing another listener and he's like really big into Reiki. He's a Reiki master. He does a lot of different like energy work. And anyway, we ended up talking about sigils. And at the time I was like, I hear that all the time, but what does that even mean? So he starts explaining and I was like, oh yeah, okay, I know. And like a sigil is like essentially a symbol, right? That contains the energy of something, and it contains the energy of like an intention or like an intention, so that you can constantly refer back to that sigil and use that symbol essentially to call in that energy and that program, essentially whatever you've programmed it with. And then last night, another one of our listeners was doing a full moon live stream and she was teaching people how to make sigils, all about how to make your own sigil for your intentions, for your, what you want to manifest, what you want to create. And so as you're talking, I'm like, this is a sigil. Like these are sigils. These are really powerful sigils. And, I just think it's kind of awesome to realize like how many sigils are in our life and how powerful they are, but we aren't really using them, right? Like this is a way that you guys are using them. You're using the power of intention combined with a symbol, right? Combined with a design that you are constantly referring back to, to like trigger those, that energy, to call in that energy. And I just think I don't know, I was just sitting here going, wow, like I feel like I've been learning all about sigils so I could like have this conversation basically to like really fully understand it. And I just think that is just the whole idea is amazing. So what are the how many stickers are there and how do you order them and where do you find them and all the things?
Okay. So we have two different collections of stickers. And our first collection we call it the Sacred Geometric Collection. And this set is very true to the science of sacred geometry, which is a whole thing in itself. Yeah. And also, which does appear in the water crystals, and also the designs that actually showed up under Dr. Emoto's water experiment. So it's kind of like a marriage between those two concepts as well as the intention. And there are 8 stickers in that set, 8 unique stickers. You can buy them individually or as a set of 8. People usually end up getting the set of 8 because it's fun to have them all. And it's also, people realize, you can put it on your not just your water bottle, but your water filter and the crock pot and the countertop water boiler. And then
your computer.
Exactly. Like you start putting them on
computer.
iPad, phone. So, think about it on the phone. I just put the compassion sticker on my iPhone, and you know how often we're on the phone as much as we don't want to be. The truth is we are. And so all day long, I'm seeing compassion. And I really, truly feel like I've been more compassionate. As crazy as it sounds.
Wow. I love that idea. That's awesome.
Yes.
Yeah, it's amazing. I love that. It's funny because when Melissa put that compassion sticker on her phone, we were like, the compassion sticker needs to get more love. And then all of a sudden we were out at a festival selling stickers and people are buying the compassion sticker. It was really funny.
So funny.
So I guess we manifested that. And then the second set we call our metallic collection. And this is a little bit more kind of cheap, modern design focus, but still has geometric shapes. They're not as specific to the actual sacred geometry, but they are broken down kind of geometry from that. And then it has the intention, and these ones have the words a little bit larger. So it's really just a matter of preference because both work well. Both are, the same. It's just kind of a visual preference for most people. And there are also 8 stickers, same deal. They come as a set or they come separately. And you can buy them at our website, which is called Love H2 Life, LOVEH2, the digit 2, life.com. And we do have a special offering for you guys.
Awesome.
Is now a good time to mention that?
Yeah, take it away.
Okay, so basically it's 25% off the 8 packs. So instead of being $20, they're $15, and the discount code is positive head.
Awesome. Thank you.
And it's 2 words. So positive head,
positive
just like you
space head.
Positive space.
Positive space head. I think that needs to be another podcast.
I know, right?
That is so generous of you. Thank you so much. Because as you were describing this, I was like, man, so many listeners are going to be getting the stickers. Like, I can tell you, like, I was like, I wonder which ones I'm going to get. Like, cause it's just a no brainer. Like, it really is. And it's just, it's like fun, it's like fun to see like how you can apply this and how you can essentially like take these sigils or symbols or messages or intentions and like you're saying, you're trying it with your phone, you're trying it with your computer, especially in these places where we tend to get very stressed, right? Where we tend to get very aggravated. I mean, I'm thinking about I'm thinking about putting in my partner's car because he gets real stressed when he's driving. Like there's all kinds of
Peace.
Totally.
Peace. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Right. There's all kinds of applications and it's really fun to play with, I think. And so thank you for that offer. I know a lot of the listeners will definitely take you up on that. And what is, I know you guys mentioned like the larger picture. What is like, do you have any plans for the future? I mean, like, or any kind of like visions for moving ahead with this or where you'd like to take this?
Yes, for sure. That's for sure. Do you want to start, Sarah, or do you want me to go?
Either way.
Yeah. So for me, for both of us, everything's for both of us. A big vision, because I've always been for a long time into like helping kids and helping children to thrive and find positivity and self-love and all these other things. And, there's not in the schools today, it's like there's a lot of negativity and there's just a lot of issues with internet, all this self-esteem stuff. And so our big vision is really to get this as a trend get it into all of the schools, from high schools, maybe even middle schools. Nowadays, a lot of schools are banning water bottles because of the plastic, luckily. Mm-hmm. And so people are using reusable water bottles and they have filling stations. So I have this vision of like all these kids in high schools having these positive intention stickers, walking around drinking their water with the stickers on them. And we actually just got into our first school. We're in quite a few. We've done a lot of school events, so we've gotten them into schools, but like officially, like the school has every student in the school has our sticker on their water bottle. And that's really exciting for us because number one, like we were saying, the subliminal messaging, that's powerful, but also like the intention is infusing whatever the energy of the word is into the water, and they're drinking from it all day long. And it could spark conversations with the kids too about, courage or love or joy, positive type things. And I just think it's the perfect tool for children in schools. Plus kids are super into our stickers. Like it's really fun for them. Kids like stickers in general. So that's like one big avenue. We have a lot of different things in the works right now, but that's like a huge one for sure, is getting it into all the school, getting into the schools, really.
I love that. Like, I actually almost just got emotional while you were describing it, because I had this image of like all of these kids walking around with these just beautiful messages on there. And it's like, how can you bully someone? How can you be any other way when you're all walking around with these messages of like love and hope and peace? And it's like, it's amazing. Exactly. That's great.
Thank you. Yes, thank you. We're really excited about that.
Yeah. So continuing with that.
There's more.
There's more. I know the school thing is just like, I know Melissa mentioned her passion for the school thing is just so deeply rooted in what we want to do and what we have been doing. And basically, we want to get this not in high schools and colleges and just kind of make it a trend all around because of all the negativity that's been going on and the fear that's been going on and just that kind of the general sense of not just kids having self-esteem issues. Well, it's all of it. It's the self-esteem, but also there's like a permeating global fear in schools because of all the terrible things that have been going on. So we actually had this moment where we actually were talking about our bigger vision when we were in the desert and we kind of like sat down in meditation and we both like, we were talking about our vision. We both were like, we get into meditations together and it's actually really funny because that's how we downloaded our name. And then that's how we were like, we both kind of came into this thing where we like, Melissa has her like, her vision for the schools. And then I used to teach kids. And so we both kind of were just like, yes, like a million yeses when it came to the kid thing and the teenage thing and everything. And it was really funny because right after that, or maybe it was right before it. I can't remember the timeline. But anyway, we were at this trade show and we were talking about this school thing. And literally 2 minutes later, this girl comes to our booth and she was like, oh yeah, my husband's the principal of this inner city school and you guys should go do programs there. And we're like, oh.
That has like 20 locations.
Oh my gosh.
We're like, okay. So it's really funny how that all got started. And yeah, beyond the school thing, it's really also the idea that this becomes a mindfulness tool across the board. And it's something that people can use to empower themselves and take with them everywhere they go. So we also want people to be creative with this concept as well. And that's part of the reason why we love when people are like, even what you said, oh, I'm going to put it on my boyfriend's car or whatever, people are getting creative with this. Yeah. And we really want to see people show us what they can do to spread positivity everywhere they go and how they're inspiring other people and they're bringing their friends and whatnot. So that's kind of our bigger vision with the stickers. And we'll create other things. But right now we want people to really understand the potency and the power that just carrying these words have on the stuff that they're carrying around.
And the other thing that we forgot to mention is we actually donate for each sticker purchased. Yeah, hello. No, I'm kidding. Right, we totally forgot. And something pretty important and really wonderful that Sarah and I have been doing is we donate for each sticker purchase. We donate a sticker to a child in a hospital, and the children we start going into the hospitals and giving them out to the children, and they like the smiles on their face. Kids love stickers again, and they're fun. So they really get so much joy out of that. And so if you are listening and you want to support us, you're also supporting children in hospitals receiving these positive intention stickers. So that's also a part of what we're doing.
Wow. Yeah, that's another thing, like hospitals. It's like, I really wonder, it would be so interesting to do some sort of a study by not even just children in hospitals, but like people in hospitals by like putting these in their rooms, or like because it's all about fluids in there, right? And all about, hydrate. It would be interesting to see if it has any effect on the rate of healing. And it's just, my mind is just like exploding right now because these are the types of ideas I love. It's great. I truly applaud you guys. I love it. I just think it's great. And everybody has all those stickers. Like what are they? I always see those like, what are like the marathon stickers or like, what were those stickers that were huge for a while that just have like the initials of the like places that you go at the beach or something? It's like, have you ever heard of that? Maybe it's an East Coast thing, but there's certain types of stickers that have been so trendy and they're just kind of like repping like where you're from, or they're like like the marathon one is like, I completed this marathon, so people rock this sticker to kind of like, I did this type of thing.
Oh.
And it has like the number of miles on it. So it's just as you're describing this idea, I'm like, yeah, like, duh, everybody is going to love these. And this idea is, I just can't wait to see how it unfolds. And man, do you guys have anything else that you feel, called to share? I do have, you kind of already gave me some, but I do have one more question. If you have any like super fun or inspiring manifestation stories or synchronicity stories that you'd like to share.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. Sarah, definitely.
Oh, yeah.
For sure. Sarah, you want to take it away, or do you want me to go first?
Sure, I can go first. I'd like to add one more thing back to the hospital kid thing, because it's interesting. Yeah. When you were speaking, it reminded me of this. There's a charity we've been collaborating with, and they actually decorate kids' rooms. And they actually did those studies that showed that the kids that had the more uplifting environments were actually healing faster. And it is true, because hospitals get very sterile. So on top of whatever is going on physically, to look at a sterile environment it's not as ideal as looking at colors and having fun little things around, or stickers or teddy bears or whatever, so there is truth to that. So I just wanted to kind of add that thought.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Thank you. Yep. I'm really, think it's a really, really cool point of focus for something like this. So that's awesome.
Totally. Okay. So fun little, I'm going to share a little story that's fun, and it just happened, not too long ago, and it was actually manifesting my dog.
Uh-huh.
And it was funny because I wasn't technically realized I was looking for a dog, but when I was meditating, a friend of mine who is actually an animal communicator, this is very out there, but whatever, we're on positive.
Oh no, it's not out there to me.
It's not out there.
Not
anyway, we were chatting, and I was looking at this little puppy that I had visited a couple of times, and I wasn't so sure about. And we were looking in the Akashic records and kind of going back, and I was chatting with her about this, and there's something that didn't seem right about it. And she had seen, this was a little white dog, and she had seen a little brown dog. And anyway, so time had passed, and I decided intuitively, okay, I'm not getting this little white. It's just not my dog. And the dog I'd had before had passed a few months ago and was very emotional. So anyway, I said, if there is a 1-year-old, I knew the exact breed that I wanted, that was a rescue, that was potty trained, that was mellow, that was sweet, that could go everywhere, that I'd be open to it. And I'm okay, then I'll do it. And literally I just went online and I saw this dog, and it was exactly all those things. And he had only been in the rescue for about 4 or 5 days, and a lot of people were calling and wanted him. And I just went over there, and I went over with a friend, and immediately they were like, we love her. They connected, and we're just going to give him to her. So it was kind of a fun random story, but it was really specific because he's totally my dog, and he's definitely spiritual, and he's kind of psychic too. So I'm like, and they also play like sound healing there and everything. So it's just very funny. So it was kind of a fun little one.
That's awesome. Wait, why do you say he's psychic?
Because when we're going somewhere, he comes everywhere. When we're going somewhere new, a lot of the time he'll be sleeping in the backseat, and then he wakes up when we turn the corner of the place that he's never been, that we're going. And he's like, oh, we're here now. I'm like, how did you know we got here? Where are you?
I love that. That's funny, because that's actually how in 2007 or so, I was in college, and I decided that while I was in college, I needed to have a dog. And looking back now, I'm like, oh, I completely manifested it, but it was almost the exact same way that you described that. And I love how I got my dog. So I love that story, because I love thinking how like we find each other, you know, like exactly what we needed at the time. And like even so, you know, soulmates with our animals, you know, it's beautiful. So awesome. Love that.
Yeah. So I have one specific manifestation story that stands out because it's a more recent one. And it is that I have 2 children, 2 little girls, and my husband and I, and we were in the process of remodeling our house. And this is almost a year ago, we were remodeling our house. And at some point I was like, to make it a little bigger for us. And at some point I'm like, you know what? I don't know if I want to live over there. Why don't we sell the house and let's move to Costa Rica. My dream is Costa Rica. Like I wanted to move my family to Costa Rica, get out of the rat race, have a simple life, slow down, live in nature, in the jungle with the monkeys. Just that's what I vision. And so I was like, let's sell the house and move to Costa Rica. And so my husband was on board. He's like, okay, because it wasn't where we wanted to be long term anyway. And so I have this number in my mind of how much money we were going to sell our house for. And it was like, I visioned it. I saw it. I wrote down. I said every day, I was like, the buyers are coming to find our house. And literally we put it on the market. Before we put it on the market, we were looking for realtors, and none of the realtors believed we would get the price that we wanted, that we were going to ask, because it was above anything that anyone was asking in the neighborhood. And so no one believed it. So we're like, well, if they're not going to believe it, they're not going to be able to sell it. So we're going to just sell it ourselves. So my husband and I decided that we would sell the house ourselves. And I just had this vision, and everyone thought I was crazy. Like, boy, there's just no way. Like, it was quite a bit more than what was going in the neighborhood. And so I just held on to this vision, and I saw it, and I literally every day, once we were on the market, I was like, the buyers are making their way to our house. They're going to fall in love with our house. I put our house on like this pedestal, like our house. And it was actually very amazing and unique and well done. My husband did a good job with it. But, you know, I just like saw, and this is all goes back to the power of the mind and what we're focusing on and how we can attract in it, because it's nothing external that's going on. It's all within ourselves. And so if we believe something strong enough, even if it seems so crazy and so out there, it's totally possible. We just have to believe in it, and it has to be within reason, because if it's not, then we can't really fully believe it that it is. So anyway, the buyer came and they made their offer, and it was the exact amount to the dollar that I had written down on a piece of paper that we were going to get for the house. And so that was like my big manifestation story. That leads into a bunch of other stuff, but that was like the big one. And that was really exciting. I'm like, oh my God, it is possible. And then after that, that's what I had wrote down. Like that leads into my next part, because then we sold the house and my husband's like, you know what, actually, I want to have income as well. We can't move to Costa Rica until we have like income coming in. I'm like, are you kidding me right now? So I know, like, I just did all that, and now we need to, okay, fine, let's manifest that. And so I wrote that on.
Another thing I have to manifest.
I know. Like, okay, this one was a lot easier. Let me tell you, I wrote that on a piece of paper. I'm so grateful that I'm doing what I'm passionate about, making X, Y, and Z. Making a difference on the planet. That was what I wrote. And within 3 days, I hang out with Sarah and we talk about our idea. And from that blossoms the business. So yes, manifestation, the power of the mind and what we want. It's just knowing what we want and being clear and not letting any alternative thoughts get in our way, and just seeing it and not letting that go, not losing sight of our vision.
Gosh, isn't that, I love that story. That's amazing. And that's what I was thinking the whole time you were talking. I was like, oh, it's about being very clear, because that's the thing. It's like a lot of us think that we're being clear and we're like, yeah, I just want to like be rich and I want, you know, this person and I want all these things. But it's like truly like we're so wishy-washy about it. It's like I was just thinking, I was like, oh, I'm so wishy-washy about a lot of things. I'm not very specific. Like I really am not. And it's like, I'm not very clear about like what I want. And that is why it's so important, like to manifest. It's like to get in alignment with yourself. Right. And then when you're in alignment with yourself, you know exactly what you want. And then manifesting is easy.
Exactly.
Because then you can really focus without like any sort of like doubts or fears or anything like that. But when you have all the doubts, it kind of pulls all your energy in all different directions. So Thank you for just reminding me of that. I think I needed to remember
releasing the resistance. That's what and that's the hardest part, is releasing the resistance, because you can see what you want. And you just have to trust that it's coming.
Yeah.
So trust sticker.
Yes. Trust sticker. Oh man, I think I definitely need the trust sticker for sure. But thank you both so much for sharing this with us and coming on here and educating people, which I'm pretty sure you did. I can't wait to hear the response from the listeners, and can't wait to see everybody's H2 Life stickers. Is the company called H2 Life?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. H2 Life stickers. Because I know we're going to be seeing a lot of them in the Positive Heads Facebook group.
Yay.
And Melissa and Sarah, this was absolutely a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thank you. It was really wonderful talking to you. Thank you so much for including us.
Absolutely. Yes. Until next time. Bye.
Yeah. Bye.
That's it for this week's episode. If you're a listener with a story to share and are interested in being featured on a future episode of this special series, you can email me at alexa@positivehead.com. Also, if you're craving more consciousness elevating content, be sure to check out Gaia, which is the go-to source for streaming consciousness content on the web, where you can stream an incredible 7,000 plus exclusive videos covering 5,000 years of wisdom. As you all hear Brandon constantly say, it's a daily conscious effort to maintain an elevated vibration. And if you're looking to journey deep down the rabbit hole to do so, then Gaia is the best place we know of to do it. Period. And you can sign up for your first month for only 99 cents at gaia.com/positivehead. That's spelled GAIA.com/positivehead. Check it out. Otherwise, tune in next Friday for another P-Head Posse episode. And until then, as Brandon always says, journey well.